So I hope it's not. So the recording has started, so we can really start the interview. So good afternoon to both of you, and many thanks for accepting to take part in our interview. We are very happy that you can be here and also that share your knowledge, which is really significant in the field of public procurement. Also because there are very important takeaways from your participation in the Big Buyers project. Maybe you would like to introduce yourself. We can start maybe with Marit.
Yes, perfect. Thank you for inviting us here. And my name is Marit Hepsø. So I work with green procurement in the building and construction sector in Oslo, the city of Oslo. So I recently joined the Big Buyers for Climate and Environment, and specifically the Zero Emission Construction Sites group. So that was short about me. So Philip, please.
Yeah, hello. And hello, Ivo. Thank you for having us. My name is Philip Mortensen. I'm currently with the Vice Mayor for Environment and Transport in the city of Oslo. I've also worked 5 years with the climate agency of our city and having the pleasure of following this working group since its upstart in 2019, I think. Yeah, thank you.
Very good, many thanks. So let's dive into the first set of questions. You both come from Oslo, and according to the last available figures, the city procures goods, services, and works for an annual amount of more or less 25 billion every year. Could you please explain to us the procurement strategies of Oslo? How is the strategic procurement included in the purchase of public services? Can you share with us some examples or best practices that you could be aware of? So maybe it's Philip who starts.
Okay, thank you. You know, it's been part of our strategy actually since 2017, where the procurement strategy was adopted by the city government. So at this stage, the sort of government of the city made clear that it wanted a strategy with 4 key goals. The first is to provide people with solutions both for today's need and also for the future. And it also has an explicit goal that it should sort of support the ambition for Oslo to be a greener city. It should also provide a city that is warmer and with room for everyone. And finally, to support creativity for Oslo to become a more creative city. So that is sort of the 4 goals that the government of the city set out in 2017. And it also then, at that stage, said very clearly that the strategy should support the goal of the city to become the first zero emission city or the first zero emission capital by 2030. So at this stage in 2017, it was very clear to the government that, you know, the strategy and the public procurement is really key also for the climate ambitions. And those 2 sort of strategies, the climate strategy and the procurement strategy, has been linked. And it was also stated in the strategy back in 2017 that we should, for all works that are done on behalf of Oslo, the works that we demand or procure in construction or in transport, that it should demand zero emission technologies. And if you did not want to have zero emission technologies included in your procurement, then that should be sort of explained specifically. And the fallback would be biofuels or fossil free. So just to sort of highlight and stress the importance of the procurement as part of the overall effort of the city to become greener, to become more sustainable, and also more specifically to the climate goals.
So, many thanks. Very, very good.
So that is sort of the policy framework. And Ivo, as you know, and you are familiar with, we have then had a lot of different kind of pilot projects in the initial stage. And we had in 2019 the first pilot for zero emission construction works in the city. And then quite soon thereafter, we sort of rolled it out as a sort of framework for procuring zero emission in all kinds of construction work that we do. And it's now the standard solution. And I think we have maybe 50 different projects now with different elements of zero emission within it, both on the transport side and on the construction equipment. So it's a sort of test bed now, the city at the city scale for zero emission construction, with a lot of different projects going on.
Yeah, if I may add to that, it's like
Please.
Philip is saying. I think it's been a good example of best practice how Oslo has worked our way towards zero emission construction sites. But just as you said, Philip, this didn't really come out of thin air. It's been a lot of meticulous work, and it started even also before 2019. In 2016, 2017, the first construction sites started going fossil-free with biofuels, sustainable biofuels, and it's been like building a stone upon stone to come forward. So I think it's the human factor is also at play here, and there's a lot of change. You have to change a lot of people's habits to go further. So I think also it's a good example of how you can build upon best practices and share practices with other national and internationally to go towards zero emission. If I may, I can also show our standard criteria now, which is now where we are today, from pilot projects to full scale. I can share the screen just to show our standard climate and environmental requirements for the City of Oslo's construction sites. So as Philip was saying, we have gone now from small-scale pilot projects, testing out different solutions, to standard requirements for all construction sites. So this has really been a rollout and a good example of best practice in our view, but it doesn't mean that we're finished. We have still a long way to go, but this is like a really key tool for us to use our own requirements and our procurement muscle to achieve our climate goals overall. So this has been like a success story with many participants, many hands at work.
I am sure. Many thanks for these answers. Now, in light of what Oslo is already doing in the field of strategic procurement, why did you feel the need to take part in the European project, which was called the Big Buyers for Climate and Environment, and collaborate with public buyers from other member states? Could you please explain a bit and elaborate on the work which you have carried out in your work group, which was focusing on zero emissions construction site?
I think from the very offset, Ivo, we sort of recognized that we were pioneering this sort of field, this zero emission construction process. It's something that we haven't seen many other cities engaging with, and of course at that initial stage also we saw there were several risks. You know, the market, they did not have the necessary knowledge. They did not have the equipment that we needed, the zero emission machinery and vehicles. And also, of course, we were concerned about the risk of high costs and also for energy supply. So all these sort of risks were sort of mapped out and discussed initially. And of course, taking into account that the construction industry is truly a global industry. So we rely, as every other city, on machine suppliers like Hitachi, Volvo, Komatsu, also global sort of big companies. And we recognize, you know, that in this sort of landscape, even though the city is the capital, the city of Oslo is capital of Norway, we're a small city in Europe and a small city on a global scale. So of course, when going forward with this and trying to reduce our risks, to engage with other cities, to engage with the market, and not least the market supply chain, it was really important to sort of widen the field of different actors and trying to mobilize also public support and other public procurement institutions in Europe. So it was really an opportunity when this network was initiated for us to engage. So it was a stage to work on, and we really appreciated that.
Very, very good. Now, Philip, you have followed the works of the Zero Emission Construction Site Group step by step since the very beginning. And to what extent do you think that public authorities, in the role of public buyers, can have the way to sustainable goals? How has the Big Buyers Project helped in that context?
So it's certain that we have had this opportunity and being able to engage with both Europe and European cities. It has given us a platform also to engage with the industry at the sort of European level. So at an early stage, we also came into contact with the CECE group, for instance. Also, that's the sort of industry organization for the machinery suppliers. So that was one sort of meeting that we were able to get, and to have a sort of dialogue with the industry at the European level through the participation in your group. And of course, it's for an industry and for these kinds of companies, it's very different if it's a single city that approaches them, or if we can approach them as a community and as a group of cities from all over Europe. It provides another kind of momentum to our work.
Very, very good. Very, very interesting, and very, very clear the effect of the project in terms of, let's say, structuring the market, and also leveraging, and clarifying also many aspects, and also opening doors which otherwise possibly would not have been opened. Maybe finally, we move to the results and the achievement of these initiatives. And Marit, during the closing event of the Big Buyers Project, which took place in Brussels, you called upon all participants, other participants, to sign a joint statement of demand, which was elaborated by your working group. Would you like to tell us, to elaborate on what it is about? Do you have any updates on signatories since the closing event?
Yes, that's correct. We had a lot of interest actually, also in the meeting, and I think we're also now working towards continuing the Big Buyers Network, and I think this will be a low-hanging fruit for actually continuing the pressure on the market and the joint dialogue. So we're having like a call out to Norwegian cities and other procurers to get more signatories now, and I also, of course, invite everyone who sees this to contact us or the ICLAI Secretariat for the joint statement. And for us, it's like Philip said, it's been a strategic choice to participate in the Big Buyers, not just to gather our forces to the market, but also to gather European cities and European Big Buyers to ask for a more friendly environment for these solutions, also nationally and internationally on a European level. Talking also about legislation and research and development funding and so on. So we will do our part. We can only come so far with our own procurement muscles, and we also need like an incentivizing framework on top of that. So if I may, I will share also the screen just to show the joint statement, just to give some of those key words, what it's about. And it was published in this September, officially at the Big Buyer Symposium, of course, as you said. Just to give you a brief insight in what the main promises are, that we promise as Big Buyers to require fossil-free construction machinery in our own public projects from 2025, which is already only 2 years away, with at least 20% emission-free machinery where that is available. So it's already a promise for 2025, and we heighten our ambitions toward 2030, totally in line with Oslo's policy and others, that we will require at least 50% emission-free from 2030. And also interesting, I think, is that we also commit to engage with others, which is what Big Buyers is all about, I think. Engage with other public institutions, suppliers, of course, which Philip mentioned a lot about, and workers and social industry organizations. This is a whole ecosystem that has to turn around. It's not one single supplier or one single procurer. So we already have some signatories also, of course, Copenhagen, Vantaa and Helsinki from Finland, and Barcelona. which is already a good geographic spread, but there's room for more, and we invite everyone to join us traveling toward the emission-free construction sites in the future.
Many thanks. Many thanks for your availability and for answering in a very clear manner to these questions. Let's hope that we will have soon other signatories to your joint statement of demand, and let's hope also continuing working together towards zero emissions construction site. Many thanks again.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
bye.
much.
Bye.
Bye.